Alrighty, guys. Okay, so very last thing. So we talked about graphs last week, right? Degrees, leading coefficients, what they look like, and end behavior, right? So we're going to be using this a little bit. This is in your notes. You guys have this. It's in your notes. We're going to be using that just a little bit. Step 4 of what we do today is going to be using that table, okay? So to build the graph, we got to do 4 things. The first thing is we got to find the x-intercepts. The x-intercepts are where it crosses the x-axis. Where does it cross the x, or where does it touch the x-axis? Only the real zeros do, though. Anything imaginary does not. Okay? So imaginary still answers, but not going to help us graph. Imaginary doesn't help us graph. Okay? Find the y-intercept. We've actually found y-intercepts before. We'll review that today. Next thing is make your dots. Make your dots on your graph, however many dots you have. And then the last thing is connecting the dots. When we connect the dots, it's going to look like one of these guys. That's what it's going to look like, okay? Today we're going to fill in the missing parts. Remember how I had dot, 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 dot? Today we're going to fill in those missing parts. And these things will help us do that, okay? All right, so the first thing is how to find x-intercepts. X-intercepts are just solutions. They're just zeros, right? Can we put the phones away, turn them over? We don't need phones today because we're going to be building the graphs, okay? So this guy looks like something that you guys have done before, right? When we factor it, when we do all of our steps, it looks like what we finish with, right? What's the step we usually do after to get our answers? What do we do after this step to get our answers? Not multiply. Set them equal to 0, right? Set them all equal to 0. That's all we have to do here. That's all we got to do. Before I do that, though, there's one guy who has a squared, right? That means there's 2 of them, okay? So I'm going to rewrite this. So this is -1, right? X plus 4. There's 2 of these guys and 1 of these guys, right? And when we set it equal to 0, we just set our answers. We get our answers, right? How many answers are we going to get for this guy? 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So how do we do that? We set them all equal to 0, right? Or you can do this part in your head. Some of you can do this part in your head. You know what answers we're going to get. But this is how you do it, right? We've done this many, many times. And then even 1 should go out here, -1. But -1's not going to give us an answer, right? Because it doesn't have an x. So then we solve and get our 4 answers. -4 from both sides, -1 from both sides, -1, and add 2. So we get -4, we get -1, we get -1 again, and we get +2. Are any of those imaginary, I should say? No. They're all real. So how many x-intercepts did we get? 4. So how many did we get? We got 4 x-intercepts. Okay. Sometimes they'll ask you, what are the x-intercepts? Sometimes they'll just ask you, how many did you get? Okay. All right, let's look at 1b. Same thing, right? All right, well, let me rewrite this because x minus 2, there's 2 of them. X squared plus 25, x plus 8, x squared minus 5. So I just rewrote because there was x minus 2 squared. That means there's 2 of them. So how many answers am I going to get on this one? 8 answers. Yeah, there's actually going to be 8 here. So let me see. You get 1 here. We get 1 here. We get 1 here. We're going to get 2 here because it's squared. We're going to get 1 here. And we're going to get 2 here because it's squared. So that makes 8. Okay? So let me set all of them equal to 0. Like I said, some of these you can do in your head. If you want to do this part in your head, I don't mind that. I don't mind that because we've done this many, many times. So we get x equals 0. X minus 2 equals 0. X minus 2 equals 0. X squared plus 25 equals 0. X plus 8 equals 0. And x squared minus 5 equals 0. Okay. And I'm going to get my 8 answers. Now my last step, is get all your 8. First one's already solved. X equals 0. Done. The next one, I got to add 2 to both sides. Same thing with the next one. So the next 2, I'm going to add 2 to both sides. Okay. The next one. What do I got to do for this guy? First, I'm going to square root it, but before I do that, what do I got to do? Subtract 25, right? Subtract 25. Definitely square rooting is what I'm going to do later, but not yet. So you get x squared equals negative 25. Now square root, right? The opposite of squared is square root. So anytime we take a square root, how many answers are we going to get? 2. So what is the square root of negative 25? 5i, plus or minus 5i. Good. There's 2 more answers. Now let's go to the last 2. Minus 8 minus 8. Negative 8. And on the last one, I'm going to add 5 to both sides. And then take a square root, right? We just said anytime I take a square root, I should get 2 answers, right? Does 5 have a negative with it? No, so it's not going to be an I situation. It's not an I situation. Is 5 one of my perfect squares? Nope, so leave it. Just leave it. Do plus and minus, leave it, square root of 5. Square root of 5 is like 2.1, 2.2, something like that, but you don't need to change it. Just leave it like that. Okay? Okay, so there's all 8 of our answers. We said we were going to get 8, we got 8. But if I put 8 answers, if I put 8 x-intercepts, Delta Math would mark me wrong. Why? There you go. Imaginaries don't count, right? X-intercepts only want real. So we only want the ones that are real. How do I know they're real? Ask your calculator. If I put 5i in my calculator wouldn't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? 0, that's an answer. 2 obviously is an answer. Negative 8 works. How about this guy? Is this guy real? Yeah. Does it have an I in it? No, it's real. It's real. It just looks kind of weird, but it's real, right? So how many do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So 6 x-intercepts. One of them repeats. One of them, or actually 2 of them repeat. No, actually just one of them repeat. 2 repeats. Okay. So that's how to find x-intercepts. We're going to use those because we're going to make dots for them on the back. On the back, we're going to use those. Okay? Y-intercepts. How do we find y-intercepts? Y-intercepts are easy. You just plug in 0 for x. Everywhere you see x, you plug in 0. and see what you end up with. So instead of x, I'm going to plug in 0. So everywhere there's an x, I'm going to plug in a 0. So that means 0 to the third power minus 0 squared plus 6 minus 9 times 0. The nice thing about 0 is a lot of things tend to cancel out. 0 times 0 times 0, 0 cubed is just 0. Minus 0 squared, still 0. Plus 6. And then negative 9 times 0. So what are we left with? 6. Positive 6. So where is the y-intercept? It would be at 0, comma 6. 0, because that's what I plugged in for x. And what was I left with? 6. Okay. B, same thing. Plug in 0 everywhere you see an x. That's for the y-intercept. So 2 parentheses 0, 0 parentheses 3, 5 parentheses 0 plus 4, 5 parentheses 0 squared plus 3. So everywhere there was an x, I just put a 0. Okay? So we do parentheses first. So I'm going to do my parentheses. So I get positive 3 here, 0 plus 3. 0 times 5 is 0, plus 4 is positive 4. 0 squared times 5 is 0, plus 3 is 3. Now multiply straight across. 2 times 0 times 3 times 4 times 3. What do you get when you multiply straight across? Not 12. 0, yeah. Why 0? You're right. Yeah. When you multiply times 0, it's going to cancel everything out. Yeah, so it's actually going to be 0. So f of 0 is 0. So where is it? It's at 0, comma 0. Okay, that's how to do number 2. Find the y-intercept. Now we're going to put all of those together and draw a picture. Make a picture. Okay? One thing before we do pictures, though. One thing we do before we do pictures. So there's going to be a situation where we call a bounce versus a pass-through. Bounce means it hits the dot and goes back the other way. Right? It bounces. Hits the dot like this one right here. It's going up, it's increasing, and it's increasing, but then it bounces off the dot and goes back the other direction. Sometimes it does that. When does it do that? When we have an even number of real roots. We call that a double root, or if there's multiple roots that are that number. Okay, we'll talk about that when we do it. But it passes through 4. Why does it pass through 4 but not 0? Because 4 had an odd number of roots. Okay? So that'll tell us when we come back down, go back up. I'll explain what it means when we get to it. Okay, but yeah, sometimes it bounces, sometimes it passes through. So let's look at number 3. Graph, all right? Find all the real zeros, first step. Let's do that. How do we find all the real zeros? What do we need to do? We just did it about 5 minutes ago. Set them all to 0. Yep, set them all to 0, right? So I'm going to rewrite this real quick. Because there's 2 of these guys, right? There's 2 x minus 8s. Set them all equal to 0. we're going to get three answers. Add 5 to both sides, add 8 to both sides, add 8 to both sides. So I get positive 5, positive 8, positive 8. Those are my 3 x-intercepts, right? Now I know I got to find y-intercept first, but I'm going to plot these. I'm going to make dots on this graph. Okay, so where do I make dots? On the x-axis, right? This is the x-axis, this is the y-axis, right? So on the x-axis, I'm going to make dots. Where am I going to make dots? At 5 and 8. Okay? So positive 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is right there. So I'm going to make a dot there. And then at positive 8, 6, 7, 8. I know I have 3 x-intercepts, but 2 of them are 8. So you can make another dot on top of that, but it doesn't really matter. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do, I need to find the y-intercept. Okay, plug in 0. Y-intercept, we plug in 0 every time I have an x. So it's going to be 0 minus 5, 0 minus 8 squared. Zero minus 5, negative 5. 0 minus 8 is negative 8 squared. What is negative 8 squared? 64, right? So I get negative 5 times positive 64, which is negative 320. Yeah, thank you. Big number, or little number. So that means I have a y-intercept at 0, negative 320. It means it's way down there. So I can't really put it on my graph because if I did, it would be way down here. All right? But that's where it would cross. So we know it's going to be somewhere down here. Okay? Last step. Use key features. Okay, so let's take our knowledge, what we did last time. When you guys did the Kahoot, when you guys did your practice, is this guy going to have, or what's the degree, first of all? What's the degree for this guy? How many, what's the degree? Not 2, it's actually going to be, because this guy has 2 of them, right? So it's going to be 3. The degree is going to be 3, because I have x, x, and x. So it's a degree of 3, right? So it's odd. Is it a positive or negative? What's in front? Positive 1, right? Positive 1. If there's nothing there, it's always a positive 1. Okay, so we know it's odd and positive, right? So that means it's going to look like this guy here. Right? To the right, arrows up. To the left, arrows down. Okay? All right. Okay, so the dots. So let's go back up to this guy. When we have an even number of roots, it bounces. Even numbers are 2, 4, 6, 8. You guys get that. Odd number, it passes through. 1, 3, 5, 7. Okay. So I have these 2 are my roots. How many 5s do I have as an answer? 1. So that means it's going to pass through. Okay. So I know I should have an arrow going this way and an arrow going this way. Right? That's how it should end, because it should look like this, right? Okay. So it's going to pass through 5, right? But it's also got to touch 8. Is it going to pass through 8 or is it going to bounce off 8? How do we know? You guys are right. How do you guys know bounce? Because there's 2 8s. And isn't 2 an even number? So it's going to come up, come back down, bounce off, and go back up to that arrow up there. And you're done. Pass through, bounce. So it passed through that first dot at 5 because I only got 5 as an answer once. Bounced because I got 8 twice as an answer. Okay? And you're done. Okay? Most of the y-intercepts are going to be crazy big or crazy low. So y-intercepts, it's not the most important thing to do unless they ask you specifically. Okay? Because I couldn't even graph it, right? But that arrow is going to go down until it hits negative 320. So that arrow is going to go down and hit negative 320. That's where that left arrow is going. All right? Let's do the second one. Let's do the next one. Okay, so I should have done this before. How many answers, or sorry, what's the degree here? What's the degree here? Remember, the degree is how many answers I'm going to get, right? The biggest power? 3, right? So it's odd. Positive or negative? So it's going to look like the one we just did, right? It's odd and it's positive. How do I know it's positive? Because there's nothing there. It's got to be a 1. So this one's going to be odd and positive. That's going to help us with drawing the last picture. Okay, so now, next thing. Let's find our x-intercepts. Let's go find those 3 answers. So I have x minus 7 equals 0. X squared minus 2 equals 0. Add 7 to both sides. So at positive 7, remember on the x-axis, the next guy, add 2 to both sides. Take the square root. There you go, yeah. It's not going to be an I situation because it doesn't have a negative. But 2 isn't on my list, so just like Chris said, we're just going to leave it plus or minus the square root of 2. And there's my last 2 answers. Okay, so let me go make my dots. First one is at positive 7, right? Positive 7 means I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, make a dot. I have 2 more answers, positive and negative square root of 2. I don't know quite exactly where those are at. So that's what you use a calculator for. Let's go to my calculator. So I need to know where positive square root of 2 is and negative square root of 2 is. Don't know why this got smaller. There we go. Okay. Positive square root of 2 is about 1.5, a little less than 1.5. Negative square root of 2 is about negative 1.5. So it's going to be between 1 and 2 or negative 1 and negative 2. That's what we're going to make our other 2 dots. So one of them we said was between 1 and 2, so right about there. The other one we said was between -1 and -2, right about there. Okay. Y-intercept, I'm not really worried about those right now because the y-intercept's going to be something off our graph. I'm more concerned with x-intercepts and then these guys here, right? So we said it's going to be odd and positive. So that means I'm going to have a right arrow up and a left arrow down. So a right arrow up and a left arrow down. So let's start from the left. The first dot, negative square root of 2. Is it going to bounce or is it going to pass through? Pass through. Because I only got one of those guys. I got one negative square root of 2. So I'm going to go up. Then I got to come back down to hit the next one. Am I going to bounce or am I going to pass through positive square root of 2? Pass through again. The last dot, 7. Am I going to bounce or pass through? Pass through. So no bouncing this time. Done. Okay. Done. Okay, if you want to find the y-intercept, you can. Just plug in 0. It'll be 14. Yeah, it's 14. Positive 14, right? So probably this guy should come a little higher. 14 is probably going to go up like that and come back down. But if you get this picture, I'm okay with that. Okay. All right. Okay, last guy. Last guy, and then we're done. Okay. How many answers? What's the degree? Even or odd? So how many answers am I going to get for this guy? 3. That means a degree is 3. The degree is odd, right? That means odd. Positive or negative? Positive because 1's in front. So it's going to look odd positive. It's going to look like that. Same thing. Odd positive. That's going to help us later when we're drawing, when we know where our arrows go. Odd positive. Okay. Let's set those equal and find our answers. So I subtract 8 from both sides. I get -8 as one answer. Okay. The next one, subtract 4. -4. Square root. What's the square root of -4? Plus or minus 2i. Yep. Plus or minus 2i. The y-intercept would be like at 32? Yeah. Because, yeah, you plug in 0, you're going to 8 times 4, which is 32. So 0, 32. So it's going to be way up here. Okay? Okay, so let's go make the dots. -8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Make a dot. I should label these dots. Where do I make dots for this guy? Plus or minus 2i. You don't. Yeah, you don't worry about them. Don't worry about them. I got one dot. Last step, figure out where this guy's going to go. Well, we already know where he's going to go, right? I know it's odd positive, right? So right arrow is going to go up, left arrow is going to go down. I know I have to pass through that guy. All right. So let me start. So I'm going to go up, up, up. Pass through or bounce through 8? Pass through. And then I'm going to come back down, except I'm not going to cross. I'm just going to go back up without crossing. Done. So it always comes back down. It just doesn't come back down enough to cross. Goes back up. Okay. All righty. All right, so tomorrow we'll do some practice, and then Friday we'll get started on the review. So part 1 of the chapter review is going to look a lot like the quiz we took a couple weeks ago, because that was part 1. Part 1, I think, is the first 3 lessons, and then part 2 is the rest of them, kind of the midpoint.